Hey, how you doing today? I am Taquila Coleman. In today's video, we're going to talk about distraction. So the Lord reminded me of this word because I started writing this down last week in my notes, and the Lord brought it back up to me this morning. And so I said, okay, let's talk about distraction today because when you really take a look at the definition for distraction and the synonyms, that comes with distraction, you get an understanding of the enemy and why the enemy is coming to distract you. Okay, so let's take a look at the definition. So, distraction means a thing that prevents someone from giving full attention to something else. Distraction also means extreme agitation of the mind or emotion. Some of the synonyms for distraction are confusion. Isn't that something? Confusion is a form of distraction because when you're confused, you don't take any action. When you're confused, your mind, your thoughts are now directed to something else, the very thing that's bringing this confusion, right? But it has confusion, harassment. Harassment can also look like monitoring spears or being gang stalked, right? So you got to ask yourself, I know why the monitoring spirits are here. Yes, these monitoring spirits are monitoring my life illegally. God didn't give these monitoring spirits permission to monitor me. This is the enemy trying to gather up information concerning my life to use against me. But also, these monitoring spirits are here to distract me. If the monitoring spirits are successful in getting me to turn my attention away from whatever it is God is telling me to work on, and now I'm more focused on the monitoring spirit versus my assignment, the enemy was successful. Okay? But the synonyms for distractions are confusion, harassment, madness, disturbance, bewilderment. It also it's a interruption, interference, disturbance, diversion, hindrance, obstruction. So whenever identify, here come the enemy throwing obstacles across your path, right? That I want you to see that as distraction, right? Because the enemy purpose is to steal, kill, and destroy. The enemy is not going to sit back and just allow you to just go ahead and fulfill the calling that's on your life. The enemy is not going to just sit back and just watch you and your spouse walk together into this God ordained marriage. No, the enemy's goal or the purpose of the enemy is to distract you so that you never enter into this God ordained marriage promise. The enemy's goal is to throw every obstacle your way so that now you are thinking, well, maybe it's not time. Or maybe, this is God trying to get my attention. Now, sometimes, warfare could be the Lord, blocking whatever you're trying to do because you may be disobedient to, the last instruction God told you to do. But other times it's the enemy. Other times it's the enemy, right? The enemy is trying to wear you down, trying to wear you out to see if you're going to continue to fight, to see if you're going to continue to, persevere through these obstacles that the enemy throwing your way, right? So I want you to begin to get in the habit of whenever you find yourself being distracted, I want you to identify, okay, this is how the enemy is distracting me. Identify that because when you identify how the enemy comes in as a distraction, you can now put a stop to it, right? And let me say this because your children getting sick in the middle of you trying to, like push out a product or whatever, or offer a service, and here come your children becoming sick, right? That's a distraction. That's a distraction, Or let's say, in the midst of you making progress in one area, then out of the blue, you get a phone call and hear someone, in the family presenting you with another problem. That's a distraction, right? So I want you to get in the habit of identifying, okay, this is a distraction. This is, some of the tactics the enemy uses to keep me distracted, right? And I also want you to identify, but what is it that God is calling me to focus on in this season, right? I know God said, for me to be on my prayer post and cover my spouse and my marriage promise in prayer, right? I know that's one of my assignment. And for those of you who God has already revealed your God ordained assignment, the purpose and calling for your life, then that's another assignment of yours that God wants you to focus on. So begin to identify these are the things that God is calling my attention to, right? To focus on, and also begin to identify all the ways the enemy is trying to come in and now distract you. When you identify these distractions coming from the enemy, you now take authority over it. You rebuke that. You give no attention to it, right? You might even have to give it a boundary, right? But you put an end to it because I got to be about my Father's business, right? I'm on assignment, right? I'm sent on assignment to accomplish this goal, right? Or this project, right? I don't have time, to be focused on this distraction right here, right? And some distraction will come in where you can't help but give your attention to it. Going back to like the thing with children getting sick, you gotta stop what you're doing and tend to that, right? But just know, even in cases such as that, excuse me, even in cases such as the distraction that come in where you can't help but stop what you're doing and give attention to, make sure after you deal with it, you get back on your assignment, you get back focused on the goal, because the enemy's goal, the whole purpose of distraction is to turn your attention away from the assignment. It's to get you off of your prayer post. Okay, this is why the enemy is successful at getting a lot of you to look at what your spouse doing with the counterfeit. That's a distraction. The counterfeit texting you, emailing you, reaching out to you is a distraction. Okay, you got to begin to identify these are the ways the enemy sends distractions into my life, right? And then you got to put a stop to it. Okay. Don't give your time or attention to a distraction. Stay focused on the assignment. Stay focused on the goals. Stay focused on, you stand on your prayer post. Doubt and confusion of mind is a distraction. Think about it. When you are doubting what God said and when your mind is confused, you don't take any action. And fear can also be a distraction. It paralyzes you. It just, you stay in one spot, never taking an action. You overthinking. You looking for another sign, right? So all you got to begin to identify all the ways the enemy throw these distractions into your life, okay, and put a stop to it, take authority over it, rebuke it, bind it, break it, give it a boundary, and stay focused on whatever it is God is telling you to, accomplish in this season. All right. So with that, I am Taquila Coleman. I'll talk to you real soon. Take care.